Well, some more people join us. Otherwise, you're going to have a one-to-one here, Mr. Yeah, well, American market's closed, but not too bad. Been jumping around about the 1844 mark, or maybe 1847, 1842 mark, 1843. $4 range. Yeah, about $4, just under. Yeah. Well, just 4 o'clock. Number 3. New person, Martin. Don't know who Martin is. Might be new, might be, I don't know. Anyway, just Martin the recording. So now we've got which is number 3 people. So yeah, and it's already 4 o'clock. I think it's load shedding's got a lot to do with it. I was off from 6 to 10:30. I've been off since 2 o'clock and then come back at 6:30. So that's 8 hours today. So that's quite a lot. Yeah, it's a fairly good point, I'm afraid. When you take the US dollars, out the US out of the equation, it's like you got the rest of the world are like leaderless, rudderless. Exactly. That's that. Europe's a big economy. In fact, it's bigger than America, the entire Eurozone. Yeah, and it can't function now with all US dollar. It's scary shit, but you're right. Oh, well, so yeah, we can have a great time. Martin, welcome. I'm not sure you've been on before. Maybe it's a regular with a slightly different name on the phone. I don't know. But just in case you are new, it's normally get a lot more people. Someone joined us now, they usually will. A lot of problems with load shedding. Guys can't. So it's quite a cost having an expensive inverter. Okay, you are new. Okay, if you can chit chat by just you're all unmuted, so you can chit chat, ask questions, interact, or as you put there, you can join in making that statement there. The idea behind this is not a class; it's a forum. There's a big difference. A class where teacher gets up and you all take notes and learn. Well, I hope you take notes and learn here. The idea is more interaction, and you should have a look at euro dollar. Let's have a look at oil, Brent, or whatever it happens to be, or Netflix. Doesn't really matter. And then we have a look at it, can come up with trade ideas. We have a quick look at the fundamentals. We look at strategy, things like that. Now, remember, this is a training room, not a training room. So if you want to say, what can you tell me all about MACDs and various different indicators? That's for the classes, okay? That's where they train you there. So you need to have a basic knowledge. Knowledge, you know what a lot size is, the difference in a share, like Google, and the difference between an index like NASDAQ, and then difference in that to a commodity like gold or oil, and the difference again on Forex. Just have to know that. And we're talking micros or mini lots or standard lots. Have to basically idea what we're talking about. In other words, just the basics, and then we can take it from there. Okay. But yeah, we can interact if you're not sure. It doesn't take long to explain. I'll do that with pleasure. That's clarification. But it's not a free training lesson. That's for stock market college or wherever you get your training from. Okay. Just the share market, that's all. Again, it comes back to the same thing, Pete. They don't come to train them enough, and that's why they're not getting these differentials. At least Martin's already joined in and he's made his name there, which is good. Guys come in every single day, and I'm not mentioning any names here, obviously not. And then they'll come to the live chat and ask a question. It's been covered 1,000 times in the training room. And yeah, well, you get my point. So yeah, it's basically, I think a lot of the fault, they've got a financial problem, and this is going to suddenly, if I buy this, it's going to be solved. No, it's just buying an education where you've got to learn it like anything else. You know, expect the obvious, and I'll go down that road again. It's just frustrating. I want to be a doctor, but all this boring old studying, oh no, and then when I don't become a doctor, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And that's why often they fall victim to a lot of these cowboy outfits out there, because they're hunting around till somebody comes, oh no, you can make 200% a year, no problem at all. Don't have to worry about that. Don't have to worry about that. And wonder why it didn't quite go in that direction. It was that easy. Everyone would obviously be no unemployment, clearly. Thinking is not obviously a strong point. Anyway, we'll move on. Okay, yeah. Now, just remember, the American markets are closed today, so any shares will only open 4:30 tomorrow. So again, remember, I think all the guys on here know this now. If you're in a share, you just wait, you can't do anything until 4:30 tomorrow. But the rest are going around the clock as per normal. I'm sorry, noise on mute now. I don't know what you're talking about. It means you can't hear me, or I can't hear you, or I'm sorry, noise on mute now. Sorry, I need more information. I don't know what we're talking about, to be honest. Okay, so afternoon, Marius, not too bad so far. Gold is hovering around a fairly $3-4 range, so it's in and out of profits, a bit slow, but we'll see how it goes. We also got GBP USD out. That's slightly, when we get it out at 38, so it's virtually even Steven. Been trying to come off and then it pops up, but it seems to be again a fairly tight range, so just let that run. GBNZD did pretty well, came down to just at the end, actually spiked down to bloody hell 23. We got in on that one at just around about the 300 mark. Got a trade out in it after trading. I pushed it a little bit further and they sent it out in the end. It turned out slightly better price. So some guys got on the better price. So if you got in at 89, 92.89, or you got in at the trading idea, which is a little bit later at 93.12. Sometimes it's better to get it fresh off the press. Sometimes lucky if you've got a bit later at a better price. That's the market, ups and downs. Anyway, whatever, you're in a profit. So if you got in above 93, clearly you can modify your stop to protect. If you got in at 89, 88, 30 pips away, you might want to go to modify to break even, or you might want to reduce the stop a bit or leave alone. That's up to you. You can make that decision accordingly. Who I've got here, I've got Pete and Marius and Ken and Farney, who've all experienced. Fiona's being a little bit tired, she's getting a bit of experience, but those guys doing it before, don't need me to tell them what to do, they know by now. But all I do ask is don't turn a winner into a loser. That should stay as a winner, whatever happens. So, yeah. Make sure you're protected. That's what you modify for. All good. Okay. Right, Martin. Yeah, just join in. Might be a few more joining later. At the moment, I think. Like I think a lot of you are load shedding. Level 6. Yeah. Okay. All right, so yeah, it's okay. The trades, one's doing very well, the others okay. Another one I looked at, but nobody seemed to be too keen on, was actually a pending trade. It's this one here, AUDNZD. This is obviously a copy I made earlier on, but I sent it out to the company and they didn't come back to me. They missed it on meetings or anyway. I see a potential buy on this one, but I prefer to get in. That's the weekly one you can see up here. Maybe it's a copy, this is not live. So I did this a few hours ago. To get in where the blue line is. It's a pending order. I want to get in at, as you can see, 35. So it's not there yet. It's 35 above. I wouldn't be chasing it now. You'll get a decent risk reward. We can come back to around about the level I've got there. Maybe we can do something. So I'll put it up on the live chart. Around about that level there. Maybe I got 35, maybe just about there. Somewhere around about that level there. You can pull back there. Maybe we can get a buy in if it bounces like that. It's in the buy zone now, trying to break up. So maybe a few sells will bring it back again. Then we can look to buy and take it further up. Yeah, well, Morris, you got it at 94. That's what it 50 something, 60, 35, 37, 38 pips away. It's up to you. I think you can bring that down to break even. Still a bit of a gap for the noise. And then at least you take the fear out of the trade and then just see if it can march on. And if it doesn't, something goes wrong, well, at least you're protected. That's my opinion. That's what I think. Remember, it's all about risk management, this business, equity management. And then you've taken out the risk from the trade. Now you know you've got it break even. You stop unless something radical. I mean, there's always possible slippage with something pretty radical brilliant have to happen to the pound for that to happen. So yeah, and I think 35 pips is good enough if you want. But don't chase it now. If anyone's not in, it's too late now. But GBP guys. So just keep an eye on that. If it pulls back, we can have a look at that one. Yeah, it's a bit sideways. American markets close. So it'll just trundle along as per normal. Just bear that in mind. Okay. I hate it was like this, but you know, it's because we've got trades out. I mean, you've done well before, guys. You've got to trade out even despite that. But I think it's going to be more, say the trade, not a trading, resort to giving value, maybe up a question answer session. But I'm not sure we're going to be finding many trades. As you quite rightly say, Farney, when you take the US out of the equation, the world seems to suddenly go rudderless, leaderless, you know. Now what do we do? It's pretty scary. And the country's virtually bankrupt, pretty hecky word. It's so far in debt, it's scary. The wealthiest country in the world on paper is actually like say you're wealthy, you drive a nice car and you've got a nice house and nice clothes on, a nice washing machine and a nice fridge, but it's all on debt. So in other words, you sits way below your actual liabilities. In theory, that's debt. But anyway, that being as it may, it's perception that counts, and yeah. So if you can find somebody who will ask me questions, let's leave the floor open. Otherwise, it's going to be maybe we can talk about the cricket or the rugby or the golf or whatever. We've only got 9 people there. Well, actually 8, because obviously that's including myself. They can't be drowned in their sorrows. The trades haven't been bad so far. Remember as well, the afternoon, a lot of people are still leaving work or whatever. But I still think that's not the problem, the load shedding. You know, when you get 4.5 hours, it creates a serious problem. And that's twice in a day, eh? So you're happy with that, Morris, if you want. It's up to you. Maybe bring it down to break even. GBPNZD, what's it doing? Check me a little bit, but let's pull it up. Put a shorter term. Yes, come off to nice. Let's pull it up. But still a few sales are coming in. So if you got it at 94, that's how, where is that now? 92.94. It's right up here somewhere. No, you can put it down there. There's a nice gap. It's a complete pain in the backside, Sonova. A complete total. I mean, I'm going to vowel language, but you sometimes want to use it because it's such an unnecessary situation. It's just appalling, absolutely appalling leadership. The only good thing about it is a free country, and I'm allowed to say that. I mean, if you'd said that in Zimbabwe, the 5th Brigade would be you'd be thrown in jail. Would say that in the Third Reich or a lot of places, Iran or whatever, you'd be in jail. At least you still got some freedom of speech. But I have to say, it's nothing to do with it any more than absolutely appalling leadership. It's not just corruption, it's a lack of competence, theft of cables, ridiculous people in high positions without being good enough to be able to do that, signing stuff without even reading it, and ridiculous tenders. And the litany goes on. I mean, it's just, you know, to get around this kind of business I'm in, and some of the guys I spoke to know a bit about what they're talking about. And I swear to God, I don't know if anyone's got a 4-year-old daughter or son there. I reckon they're going to run it better. It's absolutely, it's almost willful to be that bad. Well, it's shocking, because never mind, I can't put an order in. That's not the real problem. I can't make a cup of tea. That's not the problem. The problem is the complete knock-on effect of the country. Millions are not starving, but not far off it. And then the perception around the world that after, you know, fighting for the Constitution, the money they spent in getting one of the best in the world at it, to do this is worse than criminal. If there'd been higher education, the populace, they'd have been promoted out a long time ago. But probably it's all emotion at that level, rather than actual radical thought it out. No, it's a free country, just voicing my opinion. That's the whole idea, freedom to be able to do that. Yeah. No, it's and then you got Transnet and the Denel, and that's it. Well, so much it's Transnet, the litany goes on, yeah. It's going to get a stage, it's going to be like, right, takes a trigger, and bang, it goes. Storming the Bastille, those who know your general knowledge, same principle. The start of the French Revolution. The worst emerging currency in the world, you know that? No, it's anyway, just put us all in a very good mood. That, so I'll move on. Euro dollar, let's have a look at something else. Euro dollar on a 15-minute, telling me squat. Not much happening there. Look at that, complete decision, leave it alone. Another one I was looking at, I like very much the CHF JPY and the GBP CHF. In fact, the GBP CHF is slightly better. On the daily, this might be a possibility. It's come back. I want to buy this one. It's come back. It was up here, and then I want to buy it up there. Looks like it's come back and tested. We might have something here, actually. Not much happening, but that's a good old USA gone to sleep today. George Washington's birthday. Well, so that's fair enough. So, but I think I tell you what, I'll back the Swissy over the Japanese yen. I think it's a possibility of a trade here. I think it's going to bounce up and take it out. Stop down here. Might be slow. That's the only thing. You might be in here going into the end of the week. So be it. 70 pips stop. Where can we take it up to? Yeah, we can take it up there. That's the next high. Maybe a bit easy to understand what I'm getting at there. See, as you go back along the crosshair there, it's a bit of a high around about these levels. Not a major one, something like that. Maybe a little bit higher. Maybe maybe a little bit higher still. It's a bit too high. Maybe around about that level. Somewhere around about there and a stop. I think we'll be able to manage it. Before we do that, Martin, now, that's the second thing. Now I'm confirmed. Might be the first time here, it's not first time to trading. Nobody brand new at the early on puts their name up. They're too scared. Number two, they certainly don't have an idea. So obviously trade before. Great, that's great. Okay, that's fine. Right, Martin, welcome to the fold. Good to have you. We discuss, say, trading ideas. You just write on it, put your name forward, discuss it. I just want to finish this off before we go to that one. Anybody like this, or should we move along? If you don't like it, there's no point in me waiting half an hour chit-chat about something you don't like. Let's discuss the film. Let's all discuss the film no one wants to go and see. There's no point, is there? Should we move on then? Nobody likes it. You think it might come off a bit? Well, it could well be all right. It's broken through that before. It might come back down here to 144.70. Could well do that for a better area. Okay, no problem there. And Fiona doesn't like it, so why hover around it? Fair enough. Okay, US dollar yen. Can we find them there? See, it's right down there on the support resistance area. It's between these two 50 and 200-day moving averages, right in the bang center, i.e. halfway house. It tried to go up, sellers came in, tried to go up, sellers came in. Complete indecision on Thursday. The dollars, it's okay, but it's not doing much either at the moment. I personally think the chance of upside, I tend to agree. Okay, let's get that out of the way, Martin. I tend to agree. Okay, however, I think there's just not enough happening there for me to be comfortable. And I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls back a bit to maybe there. That's a whole 100 pips away before it bounces again. And if it did, then you get a stop. I think that's pretty wide. And maybe you have to make a try to stop to take it back up again. But at this stage of the game, let's look at the 4 hour. Now, I think I'll leave that. Are you happy with that, Martin? Okay. Well, it's not bearish on dollar yet. It's not bearish, no. In fact, it has been bearish. I'll give you juice from there. At the moment, I think it's a bit sideways. Remember, the yen, for various fundamental reasons, has gained a bit of strength lately. But as I mentioned before, guys, the government and the people in Japan do not want a strong yen because their GDP to debt ratio is one of the worst in the world. It's like 240% debt to GDP. Might change a bit last I read it a year ago, to be honest. But the point is, they can't write. They've got virtually zero interest rates. So inflation is a bit of a problem because people borrow cheap money. The trouble is, they can't raise them because then that makes their debt unhandleable, just like it would in your private life. You can just about pay your 10 grand a month bond and start putting the bloody interest rates up. Now it becomes 11 grand a month. It might just, that 1,000 rand might just put you under. Get the idea. So they've got to export the way out of trouble. Now they've got competition from other countries, China's, South Korea, Taiwan, don't forget Taiwan, other places. So, so to keep in competition, they need to be, the price needs to be, what you call it, competitive. And if the Toyota is good, but you can get a Merc for the price because the yen's so bloody strong, they've got a problem exporting. You get the idea. So they need that weaker yen. So I tend, for that reason alone, after the fundamental reason on the bond buy, I would turn around and say, yeah, I would agree. I'd say, wait, this is a potential buy. I quite agree, but I think just hold 5 for the moment. Okay. It's been up and down like a bloody horse draws the last week or so, that Euro JPY. That's what I said to a guy early on, asked me, so what do you think I should do about it? Next time I see a problem, I don't just take it like Pete's done, Pete Mayer on here, and probably a few others as well. Take the bloody things before it just comes all the way back again. It was earlier on, it was up there. So if anyone's left in there, well, I hope you just bounce again and take the bloody thing. See, look at this, see what I mean? Look at the 15-minute. It's in a bit of a profit. We'll make an analysis of what's going on. There's a bit of a profit earlier on today, somewhere up there. And then look, it's back down here. And it got to the round figure, remember the psychological round figure, 143, 142, whatever. And then it bounced again, and up it's going. It's battling on the hourly on here, but it didn't battle before. Well, I think once you see a bit of profit, if it gets up there, take the bloody thing. If it shoots up, well, never mind. It's causing more bloody hassle than anything else, this thing. At least you got out with a couple of bucks in your favor, so it might break through. Okay, best take off on that one. Bit out of control on that thing. Okay, what was it? The other one I want to do, but I can't get the right entry, is this one's a sell. I really want to sell this thing, but I want to get a better price. Get it there. It was there today. I know it might get back there again. Maybe we look at the sell down here. Not enough. Maybe, I don't know. I want to sell it, but it's right down there in this resistance area, plus minus, you can see, around about these levels here. And I'd rather see a breakthrough or try and get a better price to sell it. But at the moment, it's buyers and sellers can't make their mind up. That's another one. So we can take advantage of once we get a decent price for direction. Well, they are fun, that's fine. I think most of the guys are out of that thing, either breaking even or a couple of bucks in profit. That's okay. If you missed it, it's been up and down like a bloody roller coaster, so maybe you can get it next time round. Okay, sorry, go back to Martin. You're happy with that? That's my, and that's a fancy word. That's my take on it. Trying to get away with all this stuff and trying to take a bit of mystique out and realize most of this is an opinion. Right, a bit of experience, your opinion should have more value. I get that. It's always an opinion. And people getting away, you know or don't know. It's not as simple as 1 and 1 is 2, you know. So yeah, that's my opinion. If you're happy with it, fair enough. If you have another opinion and it's worthwhile listening to, as in it's got, not because I feel there was a point behind, let's listen and hang on, we can always change ours. Yeah, you got a point, and maybe we should sell it rather than buy it. That's the idea of a trading room. And then we get a lot of people on our side, often put out the trade to the company, and then the company puts together a banner with it or whatever, and they send it out to everybody. A lot of trades come from here. So you might as well be at the source. In the meantime, I know you've all got it, but I'm just going to put it on for March. You've probably got it, but I just want to have the dollar index. I think everyone else has got it. I'm just going to copy and paste it for you, Martin. If you haven't, you need this. It's a dollar index, the DXY. Okay, and the other one is the economic calendar. As I said before, I've filtered it. Maybe I've over-filtered it. There's other stuff in there, like Farney has got a few more on there, which has turned out to be quite useful. I just haven't bothered actually, but other stuff or laziness or excuses. But the bottom line is, if you want to filter and put a few other stuff in there, feel free. But there you are. At least you, but whatever you have, the economic calendar. You don't want to do what some guy did. I think he was managing a few people, got in just before the CPI, and as luck would have it, went the wrong way. We don't want that. Actually, would have lost anyway because we didn't know that. If you went the right way, you'd have done the same thing next time and got it wrong. Luck is not a strategy. I put my house on black the other day. You could see when it came in. Instead of getting a hug from the wife, she kicked me in the bloody groin. If it red had come up, we'd have been on the street, if you get my point. My sort of fictitious wife, who comes in to a lot of my analogies. If any ladies want to marry me, I'm very, very nice if we really were married. I would never talk like that about. Yeah, sorry, Fiona. I believe you're married, so that's unfortunately no. I don't know what age you are. Probably about 100 years younger than me as well. It's not going to help, of course. The halo, I like it. Keep the sense of humour. It's all in fun. When I take the mickey, a lot of times it's self-deprecating, fancy way of saying take the mickey out of myself. Okay, now come on, GBP USD, it's coming down. The NZD one. Gerard's not here, is it? What are my better ideas? Gerard's not here. No, it was actually Gerard's idea. And I spotted, agreed with him. I'll give him a little bit of a pat back for that. At least I saw it and agreed with him, but he didn't bring it up. He brought it up, not myself. And that's been a beaut. Hey, Mars has got a big smile. I can always feel it in the ether. Oh, this one doing very nicely. Popped up a bit and seemed to be trying to come off again. This was mine. It's not exactly shoot the lights out like the other one, but it's trying. Give this due, it's trying. But at least it's trying, so maybe it'll come right. I think you need a bit more patience with that one. Roger the fuddy-duddy's trade, maybe a bit more patience. No, at least it's trying. Gold is hovering, so maybe it'll come right. Keep an eye on that DXY as well. Keep it minimized and handy. Get somebody move up if you can, but I feel it's going to be in the doldrums because they say the Americans are closed now, so everyone thinks nothing's going to be happening. They're probably right. It's going to be very sideways. Well, we're in the Nasdaq since 700, so I won't worry about that. So we're not, still about 250, 300 in profit or whatever in. So just let that thing run. Get more action tomorrow. URNZD on the 1 hour frame. I do my strategy, by the way, on the daily. And then I often, sometimes on the 4, some of the weekly, but I check them all. The hourly I very rarely do, it's too short. And I'm not a scalper with these costs, but I'll have a look anyway. URNZD. Yeah, on an hourly frame, what's the time now? 4 o'clock, between 3 and 4, complete decision. It's now 28 minutes old, so it's half the way through, excuse me, this particular hour. And again, complete starting in decision. So how do I feel about it? Well, not a lot, to be honest. I've got only a few hairs, and what hairs I got left of my dome, I'm afraid, are not exactly being blown back, as they say in the classics. So no, not keen. Well, I'll have a look at the 4. I might get a bit something more exciting there. I think they're pretty even Stevens, these two currencies. The euro now is reasonable, sort of, I'd say a middleweight boxer. Remember I told you the heavyweight, the middleweight, and the lightweight. I think NZD, euro, both middleweight at the moment. The euro is slightly strong, as you can see on the 4 hour. It's in about more the stronger zone. On the daily, it's clear in the stronger zone. If you're looking for something, you'd be looking to buy it, but it seems difficult to get going. It's come back to technical support. So what I think about it, I'm thinking if I'm going to do this, it'd be a buy from a technical aspect, but it's not happening. Going back to your hour, the hour's telling me this total indecision, so I'd leave that. But I'm leaning towards the upside on a technical basis. But even that, I'm a little bit worried about because they're pretty similar currencies on strength-wise at the moment. Okay, that's my take. What do you think, Sunova, or anybody else? Do you see it trading up? Put it back and have a look at the weekly if you like. Up next on the buy zone there as well. It's clear in the buy zone. So not sure you should be shorting it, but pretty sure you should not. But anyone like, what do you think? Well, there's your answer, Sunova. If you're having less success in the longer frames, don't do them. Do the 1 hour frames. Clearly. Never mind what I bloody well say. Ignore me. Go and do what works for you. That's the point. Yeah, well, it looks right for a buy on a technical basis. Yeah. If that being the pounds, that euro GBP, I'd say, come, we've got ourselves a trade here because it's the NZD is making me a little bit nervous, and the last couple of hours very decisive. But on the daily, yeah, I agree. I'm just a bit nervous. Anyone like this anyway? Because I'm a bloody chicken. So you've got to be. Yeah.
Position calculator, please, mate.
That should do about there. Pick the round figure. All right. Now we can take it up to too much. Take it up to about there. Not exact, we'll have to do. Okay, 1.7220, that'll do. Doesn't have to get there. If you make 80 pips of 120, who cares? It's still doing okay. 1.722, there we are. I don't know, you might want to know this time. Don't know why. That's better. That's not going to work. I don't want to tie the starts, but shove it up a bit. That should do it. Something like that. Get this out of the way. We'll bring it back again. Yeah, that's good enough. Look at that. Around about there. Let's look at the weekly. You can put it slightly higher if you want the TP higher, but that'll do to start with. So if you want to do that, there you are then. $100 for my code. Okay, there you are. Anyone want to do it? I've made my case against it because I'm not saying from the bias correct, but I think I'm just going to sit this one out. I'm probably a bit of a chicken, but anyone else like it? What do you think, Martin? NK? Pete? Do you like what Ken's coming up with? Do you like it, Ken?
Yes, mate. You see, I'm looking at the recent high, and it has broken above on a daily time frame, above all weeks, and then is going back to retest the same
Yep.
support that it has broken.
Absolutely, yep.
So from there, we might see it going up.
Yep. I totally agree with you. Technically, absolutely. I just wish it wasn't the NZD ZD. Otherwise, yeah, I hear you. Okay, right, NK. Listen, Ken, you got yourself a trading marine there. You hear that cluck, cluck? Well, that's me. Not so. You got a trading marine going with you there. Write that down. I really hope it comes right. That shows you need to be brave in this world, eh? Fortune favors the brave, as they say. 70.77 and 1.7234. I won't be putting out to the great world out there for a trade because I didn't put my signature to it. Okay, but there. Anyone else want to do it and go for it? And if it comes right, I'm giving you full permission to take the mickey out of Mr. Roger Chicken here. Not Roger Rabbit, but Roger Chicken. Okay. Okay, should we move on? Anyone want to take? I'll give you a few moments. Oh, got it. Come back to it. I've got it written down. I don't want to do that one. GBP CHF, I couldn't find. CHF JPY, you didn't like it too much. Wanted to try and get a better price. I still like it, but anyway, that's your choice. There's nothing else really I could see. I don't want to chase the dollar rand plus the costs involved. I made my case on the dollar yen. Swiss is the only one I might consider shorting, but I'm not comfortable with it. The only time I'd sell the dollars against the Swiss franc. Dollar CAD, not too sure about that. I'm not too sure about that at all. One person on here went for it. Are they still here? No, they just left. I'm not sure I fully agree in it. We'll see. Might get a bounce, might not. Not enough for me to get excited about that. Okay, we can't look at shares because nothing's happened, so there's no point. So yeah, the only one I wanted to do, I want to get a decent price, is right about the 30-odd mark. Still got to come back about 30 pips to do that one. We'll see. And I'll quickly check. Gold is gold hovering, nothing happening there. GBP USD trying to come off. That's okay. And the NZD is coming off nicely. So the GBP NZD, anybody who take it, make sure you can't lose in the trade. Your stop loss accordingly. None of the others yet, clearly, because nothing's been happening yet. The pound dollar cables, they call it in the classics, is a couple of pips, okay, but that's squat really. And gold is about $1 on where? Who we got? Where do we have gold anyway? No, we got a 45. It's about the same. Great to have you, Sharon. Great, well done. Good to have you. Just as she joined, just to catch up here. Clearly, I'm the host, but it's a fairly democratic area here. It's not so much a training as more as a forum where we discuss. You can unmute and chit chat. I think I'll unmute you all again. I think I might have done. Yeah, you're all unmuted. That's fine. So if you want to chat, you can with pleasure, or you can post on the chat line any questions you want to ask, anything you're not sure about, etc. And join in. It's fairly quiet because the US markets are closed today. So as a result, there's not going to be much action on the US front. So we can spend some time maybe going through some stuff that were not apparent. So we'll start off. I sincerely hope you got the calculator. As I said before, let's let me have more experienced people coming in, but new guys come in. I reiterate again. The biggest problem that always seems to occur worldwide in trading is the incorrect budget. You're going shopping without knowing what budget and wondering why you can't pay your rent because you didn't do your budgeting properly. Same principle here. The volumes are up to maggots. You've got to get the volumes right. And that's where you have a position size calculator. If you haven't got it, get it. Don't trade and put another trade in by having a position size calculator. Remember, not for shares. Shares open up at 4:30, but not today because the American market's closed to George Washington. So it'll only open at 4:30 tomorrow. And then there's an Excel spreadsheet for your calculator on shares, Google shares, shares like Google or Amazon or whatever. Then you go to your LMS or wherever you get that. Otherwise, everything else is on this one. And then you can see what it is per 0.01. When you put in the stop loss and TP, it'll tell you. You don't have to put the price in. That will go immediately to the same as theirs. You can see it moves accordingly. And then you'll see where it's put 0.01. We don't want people going into the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P with the same position size as gold, because it's all contract size 10, but it's very different amongst the figures. So you go 0.01 in the Dow, not in the micro index or the normal one, 0.01 in gold. The actual volumes, it's 20 times difference. So 0.01 on gold is absolutely sod all. 0.01 on the Dow is pretty big, unless you're doing the micro. If you want to do the micro, and you want to do the NASDAQ, and you haven't got $5 grand or more in your account, then go to your portal, go to the portal, and then go and see Open Live account, choose the option, the micro, and get a micro account going. And therefore, because it's a micro, actually in real terms, a nano account, contract size is 10 is only 1. So as a result now, people with smaller amounts of money can do it without having being overexposed, basically. So that's a nice one to start with. Okay. Just take me 2 seconds, fairly quiet. I want to put down a gun. Sharon, I want you to I want to copy and paste these 2 links I'm about to put on the chat line. Okay. One is for the economic calendar. You need to keep that minimized and looked at. You don't be jumping in before a major economic announcement comes out and you're going the wrong way. You're going the right way. You got lucky. It's not because you're suddenly a brilliant trader, you got lucky. If it goes the wrong way, you're going to lose big time and you're not going to be a happy chappy. This is all about equity management. Not how much money you can make. It's all about equity management, looking after the downside. If you can get the habit of doing that, the upside will look after itself. Okay. If you haven't got it once, keep coming. It's like practice. You're a better driver now than you were when you first passed your driving test. Practice. So you need to have those things. If you're not sure, ask. If you don't ask, then you won't get the answers and you'll make the same mistakes and come up and bite. And don't blame us. It's because you didn't ask the question. It's your responsibility. It's your money. I'll do my best to help, but it's still advice and it's your money. I'm not trading your behalf. You're trading your behalf. It's us as assisting you. Very important differential. If you see a trade you like, put it down. But please don't say, I like the look of AUDNZD. Don't say, I'm looking for ANZ buy or AUDNZD sell or whatever. We look at it. We might all agree. You might find one. The Butte this morning wasn't my idea. It was one of the guys on here, a guy called Harold Slubbert. He came up GBNZD. With a bit of practice, I looked at it. I thought, yay, this is all right. Jumped on it. And it turned out to have the 3 trades out today. 2 of mine, one is his, and that's been the Butte. And remember, it's all opinion. I don't know. I've got some experience. I wouldn't be sitting here, but I've got some experience, but I don't know for sure. So that's why we have a forum, discuss. Okay, we're all clear? bring you quickly up to speed there. New to, like Martin, you, now Sharon's new. And don't forget, interact. This is a forum. I'm loud, but I'm a pussycat. Don't worry. Fiona's already learned that. Haven't even met me. Hey, Fiona. A big, loud pussycat. Yeah. Oui, yeah. Okay, right. Gold's doing sod all at the moment. Absolutely nothing. The whole bloody market. I like the way you put that, Farney. It seems to be when the US goes to sleep, the rest of the world thinks goes to the bloody coma. Look at the NAS. 4:30 opening, I remember. What's the time now? Been open 15 minutes. Let's see if it's jumped 100 pips. I don't think so. Look at that in 15 minutes. 10 pips. Unheard of on opening, hey? Does that in a few seconds on opening normally. So there you are. This is the normal one. I've got two up. Got the normal one. Look at this. Right click. There you are. Do that again. If you want to know margin or anything about the particular instrument, these awful instruments in your watch list, highlight it. Right click. Left click on specification. Gives you the margin of all the other bits and pieces. Anyway, the point says contract size 10. So a standard contract or 1.0 is 10 times this figure here in American dollars. So a standard contract exposure 1.0 is $123,430. You've got to know what that means. Go to class, you don't. On this one, it's very different. Look at the contract size on this. It's 1. So the contract size is only $12,000, which is about 200,000 rand. Is that right? 12,000 times 10, yeah, about 200,000 rand. That's your exposure. Your deposit obviously will be your deposit. You know what I mean? And then so a micro exposure is 200,000 divided by 100, which is 2,000. It's a tiny, tiny position, but it overcomes the fear. For a person, especially just started, they're playing around the demo account. They're scared. They won't admit they're scared, but they are scared. So playing on the demo and jumping up down the glee because they made a couple of bucks to get any fake money. At least gets them on there. Won't make much money on it because the position size is so tiny. But at least it's real money and get a flavour for it until they say, right, now I can start putting some more in and doing the job properly. Okay, so there we are. So just get to know those bits and pieces. Specification gives you the margin. If you want to know what the margin, this is incorrect. Tell them again, I'll try and remember it in tomorrow. Tell them this is incorrect. It should be 0.024 on the micro, and it's 0.0024 on the normal one. So the leverage is actually lower because the exposure is so tiny. But you've got to understand what the hell I'm talking about. I mentioned this before, the math side or the arithmetic side of it is vital. And you've got to get the concept of it. Otherwise, it's like not being able to budget. It's like saying, do you want to borrow some money off me? Yeah, no problem. I'll charge you only 15% a month. Oh, okay, that's okay. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, that's an astronomical, that's 15% a month. You multiply that 12, what's that? 10 and 50, that's what? What's 12 times that? I can't do that in my head. 15, 150, 180, yeah. That's 180% a year interest rate. Oh, is that a lot, they say? It means if you don't know the basic percentage interest rates, you need to find those out because that's the way you're going to get hammered. Okay, so yeah, it's unreal, yeah. The problem is what happens psychologically. They get at 12.7 and they get out at 12.350 on the NAS on the micro, and they did 0.01, which is a micro on the nano actually, and they've made 350 pips. Do you know what that is in real money? $3.50. It's about 60 rand. Now they fell up because they could have made a little bit more, but at least they've become the fear zone and they can work it out proportionally correctly. Okay. It's if you go to the micro on the micro for instance, it means it's 1 American cent per pip movement. So go ignore the 9, ignore that. It goes from 12.41 to 12.42. That's 1 cent American. or 18 cents South African per pip movement, which is peanuts, but at least it gets the fear zone out. But if you don't realize that, you're going in anyway, so I'll go 0.01 on the micro here, I'll go, 0.01 on, I don't know, the euro dollar. What's a different ball game? Okay. But I still say, if you want to do the NAS, it's a hell of a lot more volatile. So rather, even if you've got a bit more money, just start off with a few micro. You've got 5, 10 grand, maybe you can do maybe 8 or 9 or 7 or 6, 7 micros, just to get yourself going before you start upping the ante, because it moves a hell of a lot quicker than Forex. It's probably the quickest move, quicker than Dow at certain times. Just bear that in mind. Okay. Hope we're all getting, I know Ken and Matt knows that, I know that. Just bring some other guys up to speed. Because this is why I want them to come. They don't come to the trading room and they see their ass, and they see their ass because they don't know the basics. And unfortunately, that's dangerous because we can control the basics. What happens to NASDAQ? They're going to go up and down from here. Nobody in the world knows. We'll see what the market says, but we can control the basics. And that's what I'm trying to push in here. Clear out those mistakes we can control. So now that you go for a trade, you got your position right, you got your volumes correct. If it goes wrong, so be it. Let's look to the next one. Not blast your whole account and move your stop loss away and getting too big, trying to make a big killing. Usually ends up in tears. Respect the market and respect you. I found that the hard way. So talking about that we all have, hey guys, there's a trade for a bit. All want to make the big killing. You might win the lottery, but most people don't. Yeah. Have you got a bit of humility works as well? I mean, you might have the brains to be a surgeon, but let's be honest, you in your first year at med school, don't try and compete with a surgeon. You know what I mean? You can't. So just do the grind. And if someone says, no, don't worry about it, after a few weeks you get the same money as a surgeon, I'd be rather wary of that person. And try and keep a sense of humor, or put up with mine, because I've got a very strong sense of ridiculous. I like my banter. And it's usually at my expense, but it's all in fun. Let's just quickly see what's happening there. Anybody see any trades, by the way? GBP NZD is quiet, but at least it's a nice profit. GBP USD is about even Stevens at the moment. Gold's about even Stevens, a bit quiet. Any pullback at AUD, NZD we want to look at? I think it's going to be quiet going forward, guys. I think action will come in. Even before the American markets open, it's almost a relief to feel that the general America's back in charge, so they might wake up even before it opens. But it's not really happening even there. You can just get it pulling back a bit more. We might get a buy on this one. No, I don't blame you, Sonova. I haven't really either. In fact, we've got any going at all. And it just marks how bloody good the trading room is. I don't want to blow our own trumpet, not mine, our own trumpet. But there's been one guy's actually had to fly out somewhere. But he said he's been doing this for a while. He's actually subscribed to a lot of things where they pay for signals, good money I might add. And he's been to a lot of YouTube and things like that, so all these experts, and said, he's learned more here, and the signals are free, and they found them actually better than some of the signals he bought. So I'm just saying, stick with us, and hope it'll come right. And just be open to yourself. Before you throw stones, slings, and arrows of outrageous fortune at us, make sure you did it right. We get a lot of complaints saying, no, it stopped me out. And then you look at the journals, everything's recorded. We live in the days of Big Brother. Let's say the person moved to stop, that's why you got knocked out. Or there's margin call, you're overexposed. You know what I mean by margin call? You've got to have enough free margin to maintain the own position. If you don't have any free margin, then you might, whatever the biggest position will be automatically closed by the market maker because you haven't got collateral. Margin is deposit, deposit is collateral. Collateral, then they're not going to lend you the money. You can't borrow money with no collateral. It's as simple as that. So that's what the swap fees are for. Just bear that in mind. So if you say you get a good trade come out, check your free margin. You've got to make sure after you place the trade, will you have enough free margin to maintain it? If you're going to 4 great trades, they weren't going to do linear straight up line. They always come and go. I mean, if you look at this one, looks all red there. If you go to 1 minute, well, probably might have been a couple of greens there. It's not a very good example. An hour one. Yeah, look at that red's down there. But in that, if you look at the 4 hour, it all looks down. But in that hour, it jumped up a bit. If you've got brilliant trades, they're all doing right, and they turn out to be great ones. Why do you get margin for? If you've got no free margin, you short all of them. They're all going down nicely, and then they just bounce up a bit. That little bit of area there, never mind, it stops up here somewhere irrelevant, and they start margin calling because you've got no free margin to maintain the position. So bear that in mind. If you don't know what I'm talking about, come back again. We'll repeat it in quiet moments. Trades going on. I haven't got the time because obviously the guys are more experienced and want to get trading. Or you can go back to a class with that newfound knowledge, have it written down, pen and paper, and then ask the presenters to clarify and interact with them. Because I promise you guys are going to classes, buying 1,000 rand a month courses, and they don't know the basic stuff. This is important. Never mind what happens under the bonnet. You've got to know what a gear lever is. You've got to know what the brake is. You've got to know what an accelerator is. That's what we're talking about. Sorry to go on about it, but I'm telling you right now, it'll save a lot of tears if you can get that as quickly as possible. I'm on about. And I've done it as well. But when I start, I've got to hold my hand. At least you've got someone to hold your hand now. Not just me, these guys as well. Believe me, they're on your side. Okay. Try and be realistic and forget that damn emotional thing. That's usually causing the problems. Okay, you're a CHF. Thank you. Mind me seeing it there. It's something I want to look at. Some guys want to buy it. I want to sell it. If I get a decent, let's look at the 4 before we go to the daily. Not happening. Solid. Yeah. If that can open up, it's not much happening. If that can open down here, I want to sell that. Write that down to open one. You are CHF. Keep an eye on that. I've got it written down, or I might forget. It'll ring around, but just remind me. If that can break through the 100-day moving average, remember that's 100-day, that's the 200-day, brown, 50-day, all simple moving averages, and that's the 10. I use them a lot, and I find them very effective. Okay, if you want to do that, and if you do that, and you'd like them, put them in there, right-click, and go to text and save the template. So if you lose your chart, save it. There you are. So I lose my chart right now. Okay, I'm going to go lose my chart. Which one? Right, I've lost my chart. What do I do now? Can't get hold of Roger because he's in the trading room. Can't get hold of Clinton because he's in the meeting. Can't get hold of John. He's in the meeting. The technical guy doing something. Now you're stuck. You know what's going on. Right, we've got 2 options then. You can go down to properties and set the whole thing up again. So just right click, go down properties, set it all up again. Okay, but if you'd saved it, like I said, you just go right click, go to templates. Quite like this one, so I'll stick to it, the Roger TR1. And there we're back in business. Don't forget to do that. We've got time now because it's a bit quiet to refresh those for people who don't know. Even only 1 or 2 don't know if it's made it worthwhile. We don't want you to go to live chat asking questions that you should have been learning in the trading room. And make sure, again, before you lash out, make sure you got the facts right. Because they'll have everything on journals, etc. And it's like the bank. You go marching to the bank. Oh, no, you took this off. No, that was a debit order. Oh, I forgot about that debit order. That's why the 100 rand came off. Make sure you got your facts right. And ignorance is not an excuse to the law, as they say. Well, we're on the same page there, Sonova. I want to sell, not this one, sorry, this one, not the Euro CHF. I want to sell this one, but I want to get the right entry. And I want to get the confirmation. The moment I haven't got the confirmation, I'm leaving it. Until I get confirmation, I'm leaving that. Unless it goes up there. If it goes up there for you, I'll definitely sell it. So you got down there, so that's not enough. That's not enough. Now I want to break through here. It's not enough meat in the bones even there. So I'll leave that for the time being. And if I come to buy it, I've got to find some fundamental weakness in the Swiss franc to give me enough confidence to sell it. If you're buying the euro, automatically you're selling the Swiss franc, and I'd be a bit nervous of that. Okay. Anything else, guys? I went through some stuff there. Hope you took a couple of notes. You're not sure. Remember it so you can ask again. Because I've got to remember this is actually a clarification room as well as trading.
Hey, mate.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm tempted to adjust the stop loss on GBP NZD. It's in small profit.
Small profit. You must have gone fairly late. Should be in a major profit. Where do you get in?
1.929.
That's plenty profit. Pretty much small profit. Bloody hell, your stance are high. 60, just under 60 pips, small profit. Bloody hell. You don't want much, Mr. Ken. Yo. That's a pretty good one. In my opinion, no, absolutely. Get it down to, I don't know, make it, maybe, I don't know, make it 80. They are 92.80. At least your coverage cost is a couple of bucks if it goes wrong and the write the thing down. Where's our TP anyway? 91.15. Is it? Wow, it is as well, long way away. So we've got another 100 odd pips to TP. Let's see if we can grab it. So yeah, absolutely. Anybody who got in at 192.90 or above, get that bloody modify that stop, get that stop down. The last thing you want to get stopped at 93.12 with the original, sorry, 94.11, which the original stop is, and then take a suddenly over 100 pip loss on a beautiful winning trade. No, absolutely, Ken. Do you understand that, Sharon Martin? Modify your stop. We do not want to turn winners into losers. Losers are losers, but winners and losers lose and winners become losers. Well, that's not a good idea. %. Sharon, I love you. You're getting it. Now, Sharon, I spoke the first time this morning. I get the impression she just started, and now she's come in. She's been here about an hour, or slightly less, in fact, and already she's getting some idea. I'm not surprised. I had a bit of chat to this morning. I'm not trying to butt you up too much. You sounded fairly sharp. That's good. I like your attitude. Good stuff. I thought this lass is going to do it. Yeah. Jane could let the grass grow under her feet, that's for sure. Too late now, NK. Too late. Don't chase it. Absolute, Sharon. Yeah. No, you stick with us. You're going to take losses, Sharon. Let's get the bad news out the way up front, Sharon. You're going to take losses. That's a fact. Ask anybody there. If anybody's haven't taken a loss, they're either liars or they haven't traded for more than 5 minutes. You're going to take a loss. So bear in mind, it's going to happen. So when you do take the loss, it mustn't be so big that it puts you off. And that's why you have this position side calculator. So you got, let's say, I don't know, 100 units in your account. Don't forget, if the worst thing happens, you lost maybe 7 or 8 units. It's annoying, that's all it is. If you lose 40, 50 units, you're mentally destroyed and you want to give up. And then you can't sleep and you feel down, depressed, because you're overexposed. Don't forget, get the volumes right and respect this market. However good the trade might be, it can come back and bite. Funny things go on. And remember, there's millions, literally, I'm not exaggerating, millions and millions of people trading. Retail, you and I, institutions, we call that wholesale and retail traders, all around the world with different strategies, different emotions, different amounts of money, long-term, short, you name it. So you're always going to give it a noise and suddenly funny things happen. And you'll say, why did that happen? I'm going to turn around and see the economic fundamental come out. Why did that happen? And I'll be honest with you, go figure, because I had no idea. I don't know that, it makes no sense. But I was stopped out, so be it. I was protected with a stop and not overexposed. But as you can see, guys, the trades don't be so bad. I'm not saying we're all making millionaires in 5 minutes. Who does? They're not too bad. So far, anyway. And that's the problem I have with just going about. I have a lot of guys coming into this because they've got a financial problem and they want a quick fix. This is not where you want to be. This is not an area of financial problem, a quick fix. The only quick fix I can suggest, to be honest, is either rob a bank or buy a winning lottery ticket. But both of those have unlikelihoods involved. Okay, good. Great stuff, Sharon. Good to have you with us. And I'm glad you're already interacting. There's too many guys too scared to interact, too scared to interact, too scared to trade the markets. Yeah, got to interact so you learn. Okay, so that's doing just nicely. Modify. If you haven't modified it, modify. Make sure whatever you can take some sort of profit out of it. GBP US dollars doing absolutely solid. It's been breaking even all day. Gold's about the same. Got it 1845 this morning. Good today. Be patient. The American markets are closed, so maybe we'll get some action tomorrow. We should do. Back to. I know it's not opening, but we've got some trades out on. Remember, guys, Sharon, if you're going to do a trade on something like, where are they now? We'll start off with this one. This is Hewlett Packard. Hewlett Packard's a share. It is closed now, opens at 4:30 tomorrow because the American market's closed, and you cannot use this calculator. If you don't have this calculator, get it by going to the live chat and then go to technical support. You'll get the calculator there. It's for everything but shares. You know, shares are either like Coca-Cola or Microsoft or whatever. On this one, Hewlett Packard. Okay, so we're not much of a profit, but at least it's slight profit. It's okay. And we're in Microsoft, and I think it's another one. I think it's Meta. We're 3 shares, and they're doing okay. So those doing okay. GBP USD, we're not really losing. Gold, not really losing. We're doing okay in the GBP NZD. So just to give a bit of, if you're feeling a bit down, a little bit of a lift. They're not doing too badly. And for Martin, who looks like he just joined us, and Sharon, who's new, yeah, it's not too bad. Not me shouting my mouth off or making all sorts of promises. You ask the others. Looking back, the trades haven't been too bad. Okay. And we've got another one out, the NASDAQ. We've got a micro out in the NASDAQ. We got it 12,707, I think it was. So already with 367 in profit. Pips, that is. Okay. The only challenge I've got now is to try and pronounce your surname. And I see an X in front of it. I thought, here we go. What's it? Miriam McCabe and the click song. If you want to get a laugh at my expense, try and get me to pronounce the click. But I can't. Okay, so there. So then, let's say they're looking good. Just to cheer you guys up, feeling a bit despondent or new, or I've got a lot to learn. Well, if you could go through that pain barrier and learn it, it makes change my life. I came to this as an old guy, but I mean, came to this about 40 or just above actually, and just in the 40s. Used to be a navigator in the merchant navy, made redundant. Now what do I do? You're unemployable over 40 in the Western or over here. But and especially in a job like navigation, when you do that, sure, yeah. And it was tough. I didn't have all this technology, no hand holding, no training, no nothing. It's tough, I tell you. But stuck it out. What a difference. Best thing I've ever done. I tell you, I mean this sincerely. Best job I've ever had in my life. Actually enjoy it. It's not a job I'm going to get paid for. It's actually enjoyable. And it gives you freedom. Remember that. If you can conquer this, you need to get the knowledge. It's a grind to get it. You need the right equipment. I'm sure that's easier, just shelling out the tom. And you need the capital. Maybe not so easy. We do need it and build up. And you get that knowledge. And those 3, you're going to have all 3 together. And then you just need to practice and experience. You're set up for life. Doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're not gaga and you're not deaf and blind or whatever. You sit in your bed and do it. All you need is a computer, preferably a monitor and decent Wi-Fi or fiber if you can get it. And away you go. And it's portable. I'm in Joburg. If I want to go to Cape Town or Durban, I can do. And my business, I can pack in the boot of my car. That's my business. Don't have to sell it, just pack it in there and then make sure I've got a dongle until I get a fiber fixed up wherever I want to go, and away you go. The world's starting getting some problems with the markets. I sell short. If it's doing well, I buy long, and I've got the trading room. And if I don't know, Fanny might come up, or Gerard, or Fiona, or Ken. You get the idea. Pete's there. Sharon will be there soon. NK's getting there. You get the general idea. Stick it out. The rewards are so high for what you got to put into doing it. lot easier than becoming a bloody doctor, dentist, engineer or whatever. And even then, I knew a lady who spent a couple $100,000 studying to get I think it was a LLB, I think, in law. Couldn't get a job after all that studying costs. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. Just get rid of this. I'll be a surgeon next week. You won't. That's one thing I can pretty safely say. You will not be a surgeon next week, or a partner of the law firm next week. It's not going to happen. Just stick it out. I think we stand back and be realistic. I think that's fair enough. Okay, I think I've gone on a little bit just to say that for you guys, because it's becoming a perennial problem. I'm trying to help in quieter moments. In the meantime, I think it's probably nothing else to trade. Anything else in the Q&A session? Anything you want to say? Well, the lines on the chart, I can do that because we've got no other trades at the moment, so quiet. Everyone got the calculator. Everyone got the DXY, you know, the dollar index, economic fundamental link. Everyone knows to go and check on this. Look at this, what it says there, right click, specifications, get the information. You all know if you divide, oh, this is the wrong one, if it's wrong. It won't listen to me, I'm telling you, I haven't got the maths right. This one, if you want to get what the leverage is, you look at this figure here, divide 100, and that'll give you the leverage. Shares are all 5% deposit, so the 5% deposit or margin, 5 to 100 is 20. So all shares are leveraged 20 to 1. The micro is a 40 to 1 leverage. This one here was the normal, can't get a better word for it, come up the better way I'll do it. The normal one on the 500 to 1 is about 400 to 1 leverage, and it's about 80, 85 or something to 1 on the 100 to 1 account. Remember, the 100 one's a NOMA, and the 5 one's a NOMA, like umbrella, which means one is more leverage than the other. You've got to know what leverage is. Okay, it means a sort of, if it's 100 to 1 leverage, it means a 1% movement, the underlying instrument, 100% movement to you. Oh my goodness gracious. It's Orkney flooding. Yeah, okay, Pete. Well, never mind my best wishes. When they calm down, they're probably all about me. But you can't pass it on to them when they calm down. So Orkney is a Blumhof. Wow. I remember years ago, and you bloody drowned the Val. Oh, wow. Okay, Pete. If we make tomorrow, you can give me an update. Okay, mate. Okay, we'll move on then anyway. Okay, NGAS, yeah, just leave it alone. NGAS is leave it alone. If it pops up, it comes off. Leave the bloody thing alone. You got your stop loss and you got your TP and you got your strategy. Okay, there's only one left in it. Let it ride. You get stopped out. Hope it won't hurt too much. The only problem is it's tying your money up. You can't do other stuff because it's tying your margin up. But yeah, NGAS is become to me a bit of a dirty word. When all settled down, you can say, yeah, pass on my wishes or whatever. Yeah. It's not the lack of water, it's the flooding. Well, then we haven't got enough electricity.
Roger, I've been yesterday around Sasolburg to the Vaal Dam where they opened 12 sluices, the barrage where they have that sluice gates to equal the water and retain it to reduce the flooding downstream. Everything is level. On the Vaal itself, there's already some flooding occurred next to the river here at Van der Bijl and Sasolburg as well. So things are not looking that great, mate.
No, yeah, I hear you. Because I used to have quite a nice one I might add on the Vaal Dam, a bit big for the Vaal Dam, not much wind, but did. And the idiots didn't tell me about the floodwaters. They had a buoy, they should have shifted the buoy, and they didn't. When the ground, all right, it was muddy, but still it's embarrassing to do to go aground. No danger, mud there. But they had to come out and pick us up, and then a strong enough boat to tow us off the mud and pull us back in again. Because the idiot didn't tell us that the buoy hadn't been moved. So obviously it's a navigable buoy. I mean, I'm a navigator, I know that. And I was rather irate. But yeah, that's the days when we didn't have enough. Now, yeah, it's flooded. God. But not surprised. I mean, I've got a light on now. I know it's load shedding, lamp inside here, because it's practically bloody dark. It's like an eclipse of the bloody sun a couple of hours ago when it was pouring down. You know, sometimes it's so heavy, you can't even think.
Yes, and currently right down in Durban, my daughters in Belito, their temperature today, the highest they measured was 44.6.
Yo, whoa. I mean, I know it gets humid in that part of the world. Actually, I enjoy the humid. I love the warmth. When I say humid, in about 35, 36 mark, and even then you need air conditioning. Or now you're talking like a Rabris, and a Rabris is dry heat, so you don't feel it as much. That's actually dangerous. I mean, there's poor people there who don't have any air conditioning, can't afford it, and the older people, that can start again being serious. Yeah, I remember I actually lived as a kid in Saudi Arabia in Jeddah, and as kids we weren't allowed out in the afternoon because of the heat. You get the idea, and that's seriously hot. But it's again, I know it's on the Red Sea, but you know, even again, you can get the humidity of Durban. Well, I say Durban, I mean, you know, that coast. Actually, it must have been, I like Belito.
No, it's horrible. And the worst part of it, she's working in the bank there, and they had to shut down the air cons because of load shedding. So you can imagine what happened down there.
I hadn't thought of that, of course. I keep forgetting, because when I was last down there, it wasn't a problem. It had air conditioning, you forget. Air conditioning relies on electricity, and it's powerful, so you can't run that off a bloody inverter. Wow, that's a good point. So now you haven't got air conditioning for the next 4 hours on the level 6. Then you got serious issues. You even get climatized. I remember on a ship once going down the Red Sea, the air conditioning kicked out. Had to sleep on deck. I could not sleep in the cabin because I was just drenched in sweat. Because of course the Red Sea is humid, clearly. And that was just a sort of breeze that kept us get some sleep. That's just slept on something there.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's just amazing that the rand is holding around about 18.10 and down to 18 rand, even with this bad situation. And the budget speech is going to be on Wednesday or Thursday.
I think it's Thursday. I think it's Thursday, yeah. And I don't quote Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Thursday, normally Thursday, if I remember rightly. But the bottom line is, the reason why I think it's holding is just waiting for the budget speech and waiting for the, what do you call those companies again? The Moody's and the Fitches to come out saying, unless we do something about it, we're going to downgrade again for it to take off. So the guys are keeping a little bit, like for a CPI, keeping their ink ready. But remember when it was 17 finally, I said, come on guys, anybody out here, don't care you trade for 5 seconds or 5 years, would be buying the rand, not one yes. And this has been the worst performing emerging market currency of the lot, outside maybe the Zimbabwean dollar or the Central African Republic, whatever currency they've got there, or the Democratic Republic, that unfortunately they're not taken into account. But all the sort of taken into account for whatever places, that's been the worst. You get it? So yeah, so that's just waiting for the next week information to get a jump. So yeah, if that pulls back a bit, unless some fundamental reason pulls back a bit, that's by the pullbacks, absolutely. No, it's yeah. And remember, most people are fairly, not traders aren't, to be fair, but most people on the street don't understand the base of these economics and what we're sitting under. And I subscribe to Business Day, and you don't have a path to complete newspaper negativity blindly. In the end, you don't want to read it because it just gets you so despondent. But I haven't seen any person who has some sort of knowledge of what they're talking about, who's got much to say that's actually that hopeful. And a lot of it, the problem is that you've got to change the cultural attitude. And the cultural attitude is not. I mean, there was a guy this morning, I forget his name now, and he's just making lots of fob-off noises, just like positive noises, I can't think of a better way to put it, that didn't mean anything. We mustn't give up. We must have hope for the future. We must feed the feedless, you know? House the houseless, and you know, nonsense like that. So they're not facing up to it. They're ducking, you know, pushing under the carpet. No, it needs a drastic draconian cultural change, I'm afraid. And talents out there like that Herzog, or what his name is. Herzog is, you know, the billionaire who's got a worried about getting shot by because he's going against the trend a bit by saying these things. So the talent's out there. Talent's out there, but they're not part of the swamp like in America. They're not part of the bloody special interest group, and they're protecting their club. And it's true. Apparently ANC now is down to about 40%, which had been unheard of a couple of years ago. So even the less knowledgeable start to think, hang on, this is not happening. I went out the other day. I used Bob, we can have a couple of drinks, and I was chatting to a taxi driver, South African guy, and he was saying, I vote for the ANC like we all did, but I'm so pissed off that you won't believe. You know? So it's coming down to the man in the street now. He's saying, hang on a minute, this is nonsense. And which is all grist the mill for Mr. Malema. This is what he wants. Yeah. But I'm not sure his economic policies on a logical basis are going to work. Nationalising never has. Might be the first time it does, but I have my doubts. That's worked. Back in history, it hasn't worked anyway. I haven't seen much success in that. But anyway, yeah. I'm just talking generally speaking. I'm okay, Jack. I have to get up and run. It used to be EEC passport, Euro passport. Now for Brexit's a British one, but still, it's no problem there. No visa, just can go. But I like it here. I like the people. I like the lifestyle. I like everything. I still like it being screwed up by a bunch of incredibly thick-skinned criminals. Basically, maybe I'm going too far with free speech, but I think we all know what we want to get locked up in jail, like 5th Brigade after me, but you know what I mean. I think we all see it anyway. And I think poor old, I've got some sympathy with old Cyril Ramaphosa, but I think it's powerless to stop him. I mean, Trump's got an enormous personality. He went against the special, the swamp, they call it. Look what happened to him. The most malign president the world's ever seen. When they come up there, they get the knives out. Whew. Actually, on that subject, you might be interested, if you don't mind me waffling on a bit more, 5 times. He's the second most unpopular president. Do you know the most unpopular president in history in America is? Not latterly, but during the reign. Interesting, that was Abraham Lincoln. When he was in charge, he was the most unpopular president in presidential history. And now they think he's probably the best. Just shows, eh? You never thought that, eh? You never would have thought that, eh? But Lincoln, that's the man, yeah. When he was in charge, he was the most unpopular recorded. So it just shows. And he stood up against, well, most days it was the race thing, the Confederates, etc. He stood up against it. And yeah, afterwards, now he's a big hero at the time, no? Interesting, huh?
Absolutely. Anybody that stands up against money get very unpopular.
Very unpopular, very unpopular. Or another word is power and the trend. Power creates the trend, you go up against it, and you've got to have the right tools. And the most powerful tool now is not the nuclear bomb, it's controlling the information source. If you control the information source, you control the thinking. You're not getting information that's going against any form of that narrative. The only information you get is backing that narrative up. And look what's happening now with Biden. He's a complete utter puppet of a guy. I mean, he had to cut a deal to get in there, and he's got to jump to their tune. I feel sorry for the guy, actually, to be honest. Wow. He's not exactly poor in his own choice, I suppose, but still, he's totally the puppet. In fact, to a certain extent, Zuma was as well. Certainly, Martin, with pleasure. And the bloated bureaucracy is nearly as bad as Greece. And the cost of that bloated bureaucracy as well. Another issue. Yeah, the mechanics of this one, you spoke about earlier. You mentioned you could look this short. Could you please explain to us what indicates that? It's a bit tough one for us to show very soon. No, right. First of all, I personally start with the fundamentals, Martin. I'm saying the Swiss franc, I know finally you know it, and I'm going to say again, Switzerland is neutral, it's not part of the Eurozone, and it doesn't have to depend on selling watches or cuckoo clocks to survive. It's got trillions of money, which is not as bad as maybe the Cayman Islands. They've been a little bit more open about it the last 2 years. It used to be total secret in the past, which is a pleasure of the criminals. But still, there's a lot of money there, which is stored, which they don't want the taxman to know about. So they've got an enormous amount of stability there, and it's a rich country from the point of it's not a big populated country, and it hasn't got massive immigration and all sorts of costs of basically people who can't contribute but need to be looked after for humanitarian reasons. So it's extremely stable result in it. So now the euro is a little bit stronger, but it's not as strong as the Swiss franc overall for fundamental reasons. So you will get the ups and downs. Look what happened here. Look at this going back here. So this is where you get value from. Clearly, some fundamentals came out from Lagarde, she's the president of the ECB, European Central Bank, came out with a fairly hawkish stance on the euro, which lifted the strength of the currency up. Swiss franc just happened the other side of it, but it couldn't maintain. Look, it came down again. So strength came in. We've often had in the past government interventions on the Japanese yen, especially when it was getting too strong. The old days when it was buying, I don't know, Seiko watches and Canons and Kawasaki's, as well as Toyotas or whatever. So they're battling to sell the product. It was getting so ridiculously expensive. I mean, the yen was getting so strong, and they're coming literally with billions of dollars to sell the yen to bring it down, and you get a blip of the yen coming down before the value went back up again. So the bottom line is, I see, without looking at the chart, I prefer to be buying the Swiss franc rather than selling it. The base currency, the euro, if it's the pound, different ballgame, but I can't get into the GBP CHF. So I'm looking at the possibility of gaining it, but I want the right price. And so at the moment it's hovering. If I can get the confirmation of the weakness going down there, fair enough. Otherwise, I'd leave it because this range is too tight to trade. So I'm not going to buy it or sell it, but I'm leaning towards that confirmation. If this doesn't occur and Lagarde comes in with very strong increase in interest rates, deflationary areas, and very hawkish stance, the euro will get stronger. And then it will break through on a technical basis, which all that technical telling you, Martin, guys, is what the buyers and sellers are doing. It'll put the buyers more powerful than the sellers. Therefore, I'll change my tune and I will buy it. It's got to go up, confirm, as Ken said, test and go up, plus the backup economic reasons why it's doing that. So I'll run with the euro up there and I'll put the stop down here and run with it up there. At the moment, neither is happening. So I'm going to back what I think is a stronger boxer in the room. I think there's a heavyweight and there's a middleweight. I'd rather be backing the heavyweight. So I'll be selling the euro, but not now because there's no confirmation. And you can look at the candle, never mind the fancy names. You look at the candle, as it comes down, what happens? See that wick telling you? The wick is telling you, as it comes down, the buyers are coming in. As it comes down, look at those wicks, the buyers are coming in. So we're not getting a confirmed downside, we're not getting a confirmed upside. And if you want to trade the range, 40 odd 50 pips ain't good enough. Not with costs, etc. You got to look at 30 pips stop, even that's a bit tight. It's not worth it. So at the moment I'll stand aside. Does that make sense, Martin? To everybody else, that's my take. Does it make sense? Major point, I mean waffling on, it's got to make sense. You hear me, Sonova? Okay, you like it, good. Because my job here is to try and work, we will have a bit of fun and chit chat like Farney did, but I've got to get some credibility. With respect, they're not as irrelevant. Well, I like it to be as a personal thing, but I've got to have some credibility. It's no good learning from someone that clue what he's on about and talk bloody rubbish. So I've got to back it up with some credibility. Okay. So I would leave it as well, yeah. For those reasons, yeah. But try to give you a reason backed up. Okay. As long as you, but you might turn around and say, I hear you, thank you very much. But however, I have heard that this is going to happen, that's going to happen. I've looked at the weekly, etc. And the likelihood is, because I read this report somewhere that she reproduced and I missed, that could happen, then regale me with it. But not good enough to say, well, that's candles, it's going green, so I'll buy it. That's not good enough. Or it looks a bit low here, it must bounce up. That's not going to accurate. So, NK, I promise you faithfully, anybody out there, pick on Farnes, a scientist. I bet when he first went to get his first couple of months when he went for his degree, I presume Assange has probably got a master PhD. Never mind, we'll go back to the degree. I bet he thought this looks a bit confusing, especially started chatting to the guy that, let's say, he went and had a social with the professors at university. He'd find them a little bit confusing. Well, of course, because they've gone and spent the years getting there. MK, I promise you, please try to get guys thinking you're going to be a Formula One driver after attending a couple of driving lessons, or a fighter, well, not fighter pilot, or a Red Arrows, you ever heard of them, aerobatic pilot after just going solo. No, it's going to take a bit of time. But it will get the odds on your side. That's all it is, getting the odds on your side. Once you got the odds on your side, the unknown is what the market will do. And sometimes it does strange things. You understand, MK? Another way I just want to quickly explain it, guys, which you'll all understand. No matter you're married or not, let's talk about a relationship. I'm sure you've all been in a relationship sometime. And let's say, it doesn't matter the man or the woman, it's irrelevant. One partner can't understand why the other partner's doing something. Normally, the other part will explain, and the explanation makes no sense. The reason it doesn't make any sense because it was emotional. I'm telling you right now, if you put them under hypnosis, I promise you the reason I did it, they probably didn't know themselves. It's purely emotional. I remember once coming out some statements. I engaged many years ago to a lawyer, very clever lady, extremely clever. And I come out with some stuff, and I'm an emotional guy, I rant and read a bit. She keep her calm and say, why are you saying that? And I start blustering away. And she start poking holes in it like you wouldn't believe. I started calming down a bit. See, Roger, you're not sure yourself, are you? It's purely emotional. It's just an emotional reaction. Am I right? You're right. You get the point. And always remember, Fiona, that emotion always, 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 always leads the logic. If you're in an argument with your husband and you're logically right and he's emotional, I don't care. He will win that argument and vice versa, because emotion drives us more than logical. So what you have to do then, understand that, and I don't agree, I know it's psychology, how you handle it, but somehow let the guy calm down, or let the woman calm down. Agree, do not repeat, not start hit them or hit her with rational arguments on an emotional situation. That's throwing flames on the fire. And do not make them feel small because they're talking rubbish, which they probably are. That doesn't help either. Let them work out the talking rubbish and admit it. Same with the markets. Yeah, there's been some times here, Etienne's not here, when he called me up afterwards, I still like the trade, but it making no sense. I said, Etienne, I still like the trade, and it's making no sense. Okay, I'll put my hand up and admit it's making no sense. That's emotion taking over the logic. That's the thing why you have to get your position sizing correct, because I've found I'm getting more right than wrong. Often, sometimes you get it wrong, period. No ways around it. Roger, you got that wrong. But some of the wrong ones are, go figure. But I'm protecting myself. Does that make sense? But not overexposing. Hope that you get that. But if you learn nothing, if you learn anything out of it, please don't. When your spouse who you happen to love is getting all emotional, please, I beg you, don't get rational. That's throwing fuel on the fire. Last thing you want to hear is you're right, and they'll make a fool of themselves by ranting on. Then they'll shut down and get very aggressive, not physically, but verbally. In fact, often half these fights breaking out are usually either to some sort of chemical influence or some emotional setup, which is not based on rational. And it's caught in the paper. This guy was killed with a cell phone. That's not true of a cell phone at all. The guy was chemical influenced and probably very down in life, and the trigger came in and the emotion took over the rational. Anyway, on that very, very interesting, tiring note, shall we say it's been quiet? Hope you've enjoyed it. I think we've had a little bit of fun. Hope you learned some stuff from the old philosophical side. It's not me trying to push a particular political point. It's trying to get the understanding of the emotions which make up so much part of the human being, and especially the short term of the market. It's no good being a scientist where you get all the facts right and suddenly emotion kicks in, and that's all. You've got to understand the emotion side as well. Okay, thanks, Martin. Good to have. Thanks, Sunova. And yeah, catch you tomorrow, guys. And the Americans are back online, so you might get some movement. Thanks, Sharon. Great to have you. Cheers, Ken. Thanks, mate. Cheers, Fiona. Yay, the Americans, hey. It's only half a dozen people left, so we might as well leave now anyway. Cheers.